All righty. Hey everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Chair David is not here, so I will be leading today's ANC meeting. Today is May 16th, 2023. We are going to get started and call to an order. We are starting right at 7:02. And let's do a quick little roll call. So when I call your name, just please say here. We're going to go in order from S&D. So Commissioner Kudamis Brunoli.
Here.
Commissioner Terry Hewitt.
Here.
Commissioner Mitch Bear.
Here.
Commissioner Claudette David, who is absent. I am here, and Commissioner Courtney Carlson.
I'm here.
All righty, awesome. We have reached a quorum. Our next item is adoption of it says April 18th ANC3F meeting agenda. Are there any motions for amendments?
Oh, yes, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to include Lieutenant Olivier from the 2nd District of MPD, who will be joining us this evening.
Okay, and would he be the first item under information items?
Hold on, I gotta pull the thing back up. I think it'd be great. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other
7:40, James, just to make sure he knows.
Sorry, say it again.
About 7:40.
7:40. Yeah. He probably would start right at 7:40. He would start.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep. Any other amendments at all?
I don't know if there's an amendment, but unfortunately, Better Bus Ramada will not be joining us this evening. They canceled.
Okay, cool, awesome. So what we can do is that under information items, we can start with MPD. Then we'll go in order. So from 740 to 8 is MPD. 8 to 8:20 would be Office of Campaign Finance. 8:20 to 8:40 would be DC Street Lighting Project with Ashley Wells. And then we'll end it with an update from DP Water from 8:40 to 9 p.m. I will also make an amendment. And I think this is just like a typo error. But under item number 2, we put approval for meeting minutes for the March meeting. It should be the April meeting. So instead of saying March 21st, it would say the April 18th meeting agenda. And actually also as well to adoption of the meeting today under item 1, it wouldn't say April 18th, it would say May 16th. So just two clerical errors. Any other amendments for tonight's meeting? Alrighty, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, alrighty. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? And the motion passed. So just to clarify for those coming in, we will have our usual agenda. I made 2 quick sort of typos on item number 1. So instead of April 18th, it is May 16th. And for item number 2, instead of March 21st, is April 18th. And then what will happen is that we will include MPD to speak during the first item of our information items. And then we will follow suit. So Office Campaign Finance, DC Street Lighting. We will not have Lamada Better Bus, unfortunately. And then we'll end it with DC Water. Alrighty. Next item is the approval of our ANC3F quarterly reports. I have it up right over here. Let me make sure I got this one up correctly. Show the public. This is our awesome. See it? This is for our ANC3F quarterly reports. Any questions from commissioners at all? Alrighty. Can I get a motion to approve the ANC3F quarterly report for quarter number 2?
So moved.
Awesome. Second?
Second.
Alrighty. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed? Any abstentions? And the motion passed. So this quarterly report is approved for quarter number 2. Our next item is approval of expense for website maintenance. As you can tell, website is going through some changes right now via our web domain. Questions, comments on item number 4 from commissioners?
I'd put on the record that this was hard work and thank you guys for weeding through it.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Can I get a motion of approve for expense for website maintenance?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? And any abstentions?
Actually, James, can I just want to clarify, that's the going forward maintenance, not the retroactive, correct?
I believe this is for both, just for the
Okay.
retroactive and for the ongoing.
But we decided, okay, I just want to make sure we're in line with the conversation that we had previously about how we're going to go about maintaining the website, like through Wix and not going backwards to pay, bills that are submitted later.
As far as I can tell, for this expense, it is meant for retroactive and for current. Commissioner Hewitt, do you agree with that?
The answer is yes, but there's a hesitation until we see what we're waiting to get from the current past domain owner.
So what I can also do is that since we didn't vote officially yet, I can also motion to table the resolution as well to motion the item, but before we get a better sense of expense for website maintenance.
Sorry about that. Yeah, thanks. I had a particular question on that issue, and I just want to make sure. I'm happy to approve maintenance going forward, but I think we want to be careful about some of the past stuff. So,
okay,
if I could piggyback off what Courtney's just said,
mm-hmm.
Because I actually will backtrack what I've just said. If we could table it, it might, because we don't know what we don't know at the moment. Does that make sense?
Okay, I mean, that is also fine with me. So sounds like Commissioner Hewitt is also trying to table item number 4 until we get further information. Can I get a motion so not to approve it, but to table the resolution?
So moved.
Okay. Can I get a second?
I second it.
Okay. All those in favor of tabling ticket item 4, say aye.
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 All those opposed? Any abstentions? And the motion is tabled.
Thank you.
We will come back to this item in another month, but ticket item number 4 is going to be tabled until further notice. Moving on to item number 5, agenda item, commissioner updates and announcements. I am going to go in order of S&D. So I'm going to start with Commissioner Kudemas-Vernoli.
None for me.
Okay. Updates from Commissioner Terry Hewitt.
Commissioner, what I do have, co-chair, is the F3F Housing Committee will occur June 6th at 3 p.m. The delay, I pushed it back by a couple of weeks because of working on having important people to continue some conversation that needs to be had.
All righty, awesome, thank you. Sorry, finish your thought. What were you going to say?
Instead of saying important people, I meant important voices to this.
Love it. Commissioner Mitch Bear.
No report from me. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Commissioner Claudia Davis is not here. Updates from me. So I have 2 updates. One is that, as you can probably tell, our website is currently down right now. We are trying to move website domain and servers. We thought that it would be done right by now, but that is unfortunately not the case. So please make sure you're following our social media on Twitter. Make sure that you're also following our listserv or our email listserv, so that way you can follow updates. I'm fairly certain we'll have a function website next month. But just in the past couple of days, we're sort of kind of moving through some of like the hurdles of moving website domains. And then I have an announcement to make. So we had the opportunity of having multiple candidates run for the CAC for DDOT. So it is is a term where the community members are able to give feedback and support for a multitude of projects that DDOT is hosting and holding. So I'm happy to announce that our two winners are going to be Commissioner Courtney Carlson and Bob Dealing. So congratulations to you two. I hope that you two represent ANC3F well, which I mean, we voted for y'all, so that is definitely the case. And please let us know updates as what's happening with the CAC, and let us know where some ways that we can get involved as the ANC. Those are my two updates. And then finally, I have Commissioner Courtney Carlson.
Okay, I actually have a couple of updates, and sorry, I'm trying to get the links ready to post into the chat. Most importantly, well, not most importantly, but this is really exciting news. Last month, we worked with the merged parents, LSAT, and principal to craft a resolution asking for an additional $230,000 to support more teachers in the classroom, particularly for the second and third grades. And more adults in the classroom. And we found out that we also got 3-4G and 3E also to copy the same resolution and pass it through those ANCs. So we had each ANC that contains merged kids, merged students to be there, to be on the resolution. And we found out this morning that additional funding was approved, and they are going to be able to get those additional professionals in the classroom to support the additional people that they have in the I'm sorry, my son was calling on the phone and it just like rattled my brain. I'm always worried he's in a car accident. The second update, everybody, real-time stuff, is unfortunately Better Bus is in the process of rolling out their visionary bus network. They were not able to join us tonight, which is a big disappointment. But if you are interested in learning more about Better Bus and the new routes, they're interesting. It's different. Everything's different. They're blowing it up. For old school DC people, the Connecticut Avenue bus, I think, is going to be called DC 101, which is hilarious because that was like the radio station of our youth. But WMATA will be having a pop-up in Tenleytown at the Tenleytown AU Metro Station Thursday from 3 to 7. That's at 4501 Wisconsin. And I also wanted to draw everyone's attention. I'm going to put this in the chat to a project we're going to be briefed on next month. But I wanted you guys to know they're doing a new green infrastructure in the Broad Branch watershed, and they're going to have 87 new facilities for stormwater management. And we are going to have them briefing us next month. But for people who are interested in like the stormwater runoff, which is a real issue in a lot of parts of my SMD and the other ones as well in 3F, I will post the information that on the project in the chat. We're going to get more information on it next week, but it's next month, excuse me. But it's really interesting what they're doing, and they're in the portion of the project where they want to have our input. So take a look, and I will post those in the chat. We continue to talk to Compass Coffee through Streets and Sidewalks this month, and we continue to be excited about that possibility. And Michael Haft is really interested in being a good neighbor to us, talking about how we would work with the traffic issues that we already have in that neck of the woods. And so I think that's an exciting prospect for the neighborhood as well. I think James initially brought him last month, and so that's what I got.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Commissioner Carlson.
Sorry for the brain
no,
moments.
I mean, listen, this time for it though, we give you the floor. He's got to, you can use it as it is. Moving on to item number 6, which is committee reports. I'm going to first start in order, which is streets and sidewalks. Do we have a rep for streets and sidewalks? I believe, Paul, that is you, correct?
Yes, I'm here. So good evening, everyone. It's a nice transition from Commissioner Carlson. So streets and sidewalks met on May 9th to take a walk around the business strip that's on the southwest side of Albemarle in Connecticut. This is obviously 2 issues that have come up recently, have been the impact of the line to the car wash and how that intersects with the crosswalk. And then also the Burger King issue. Is it okay if I share my screen for a sec?
Yes, of course. Yeah, yeah.
So we took a look around there, and of course, we've got this core problem, which is that area, which has some great businesses, but has lots of car and pedestrian conflicts. And frankly, it is an auto-dominated landscape, so that makes it unpleasant to walk, sit, or talk along Connecticut. Although lots of us try at Bread First. So when we walked out here, we noticed a number of issues. As mentioned, we have the curb cut in from the car wash. That's A on this visualization. And that's right next to the Bread First sitting area. Is also a pedestrian issue there. The crosswalk at the corner of Albemarle is significantly blocked by cars queuing. And it's already a dangerous intersection with lots of people exhibiting strange motorist behavior, making, wide turns and going in the wrong lanes and this sort of thing. Obviously, we've got C, which is the entrance to the back alley there, where we've got conflict between that line and cars coming both in and out, and service vehicles, as well as people walking to both Merch and Sheridan and to Deal, the schools. The Burger King site is shown as D here. The traditional path was to have cars come in over a double wide curb cut, shown up there at E, come around the back, and then go out on that southern entrance. And then we've got intersections between that, the Burger King parking lot, the cars coming out of the car wash, and folks going into the Bread First area at F. So there's a lot going on there, and what we've expressed to Michael at Compass when we met with him is whatever they do needs to make this better, not worse, because it's not an ideal situation at this point. So it's the committee's recommendation that we recognize that people drive to these businesses and the businesses need parking and access, but we think this is a good opportunity for DDOT and maybe Van Ness Main Streets to convene the existing and potential businesses and land owners to commission someone to come up with a plan for reducing conflicts and improving, but particularly not further damaging the pedestrian experience. So I think as this moves forward over the summer, and appreciate that the housing committee is going to be talking about the car wash as well, figuring out the proper resolution and approach for the ANC to approach DDOT and Van Ness Main Street to try to get this situation improved. The good thing is that there's a lot to work with here in terms of making it a better place to both, again, walk, sit, and have conversations. So appreciate everybody who came out for that. And then just real quickly, a couple other issues. We have continued to follow up on the intersection of 32nd and Albemarle, which is the entrance to Soapstone Park. We did finally got confirmation from DC Water that they will be doing work in the street there to improve the catch basins, which means they'll be tearing it up. And we really want to continue to push DDOT to coordinate with them, because there's a lot of opportunities for pedestrian safety improvements. There are no crosswalks, no stop sign. It's a lot of people crossing against traffic coming down that hill. So if they're going to do some significant traffic calming there, they should take advantage of the fact that DC Water is already pulling up the street. We'll continue to chase after them on that as construction is scheduled for late winter. And lastly, our next meeting will be on May 30th. I've asked that it be put on the calendar, and we'll be meeting back up on Fessenden near Connecticut to take a look at the possibilities for traffic calming along Fessenden between Reno and Linnaean. And again, back to that stormwater conversation, if DC Water is going to be doing work there, let's make sure that this is actually building a good pedestrian and otherwise streetscape environment so we can have a safe neighborhood. So if folks want to join the committee or learn more about us, I will put my email in the chat, and please reach out. We'd love to wrap you in. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. And I appreciate like the visual aid as well too. I think that, in my conversation with Michael, he seems like a very nice guy and willing to work with the community. So I'm glad that there is potential, even considering the potential obstacle with the drive-through potentially. But thank you for taking the lead on, Paul. I really appreciate it.
No, and I will note
Um,
that Michael, just real quick, really open to a radically different look at how the traffic flows back there. So particularly we reduce or eliminate the conflicts along Connecticut. So we appreciated that he was open to anything.
Awesome. Commissioner Barry, you have a question?
Really want to be a good neighbor.
Yes.
Sorry for speaking out of turn.
Paul, I want to thank you very much for keeping me informed about the catch basins. And keep me informed on what is happening with the project, because my interest in working through DC Water is pretty huge, considering that I'm working with them through Soapstone, and might at some point be able to help you guys out with regard to that interaction.
I'll reach out to you. Definitely could use your help.
Good.
Awesome. And speaking of Parks and Watershed, Parks and Watersheds Committee, Commissioner Bear, go right ahead.
I don't have a report at this time. We're going to be having a meeting of the committee sometime in the next couple months.
Sounds good. I can speak school universities. We had a pretty interesting meeting last month, a couple updates. We are thinking of for UDC, because there's a new president that's going to be coming in a few months. We as a committee were thinking about drafting some wants, some things that we as the community want for this new president. And we'll let you know as a community how to get more involved with that as well too. But we're sort of jotting some ideas and which things that we want to see happen at UDC. With Sheridan School, they are going through some construction right now, so there will be a public meeting about that on Thursday. And then with the OSSI bus resolution, fortunately that passed. I reached out to one of my contacts with OSSI, and he provided some updates and reports in regards to our resolution. Also as well to the woman that I've been working with, Stephanie, she's been reaching out to other ANCs across the district for support for this issue. And I think that I'm really glad that OSSI has been communicated in this whole process, as really as like a response to just all the resolutions that have been passed within Ward 3, and hopefully that'll be the same throughout the district as well too. So that's schools, universities, and then housing and neighborhoods. Commissioner Hewitt, go right ahead.
Sorry, multitasking here. Let's see, housing and neighborhoods. So our last meeting was March 14th. Our next meeting is June 6th. The intent is to continue the conversation with property managers. That's the focus, but it also will include grocery carts. So I've engaged in conversation with Giant, and they are interested in participating in our meeting to better understand this, some of the issues. Once I have a name, that person will be on the agenda. And I'm also making time to reach out to the car wash, which is, it's an issue for me several times a day, because I have to traverse that intersection at least 4 or 5 times a day. I can only imagine someone living in the Hastings having that issue. So so the Hastings will be part of that conversation as well. It has to do with safety. It has to do with the fact that you have drivers coming from Maryland, Virginia, who are in DC, and they drive their own habits in that intersection, trying to get around a line and creating that, which has already been mentioned, the hazard. So that's what we'll be.
Awesome, thank you. Commissioner Bear.
I want to congratulate Commissioner Hewitt on getting Giant to your meeting. When I approached them about carts, they weren't quite as open to discussions. So congratulations.
It's not done deal yet, but I'm waiting for it. When I get a name, I will feel that it's done deal. I fortunately knew the manager, who's now moved on to a bigger store, and he was able to help me connect. So we'll see.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and also when you have a conversation with the Hastings condominium, please let me know as well, too. That's part of like my SMD, along with like car wash and everything too. So just sort of loop me in, and I can sort of support you as much as I can.
Absolutely, 100%. I'll talk to you after this meeting. So my apologies there.
No, it's all good. It's all good. No worries. We're a team. That's how it works. Alrighty, so item number 6 is done. We've gone to item number 7, which is the community forum. Like we have every single month, we usually have our usual guests come on the call. But then at the end, if people want to make announcements, you are feel free to do so. We're first going to start with UDC. Do we have anyone from UDC on the call? Hopefully Juanita, potentially. Alrighty then, no worries. Let's move on to announcements from Venice Main Street. Is there a rep is there a rep for Venice and Main Street on the call?
I'm
I
not
think
sure if she
Gloria
delegated
is-
anyone, but Gloria's
Okay.
on vacation.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if there's someone that's gonna bring someone in, but it's all good. Ward 3 Councilmember Matt Fruman's office. I know someone is here from on the call.
Hello,
Hey, Christian, how's it going?
doing well, thank you. My name is Christian Damiana. I'm with Councilmember Matt Fruman's office, and I have a few quick updates. The first is that the sidewalk shoveling exemption application is will open on June 5th until October. I understand that sounds a little early, but you have to get those applications in to make sure that by the time it starts snowing in the winter, everything is approved and ready. Those waivers are good for 2 years. So I do encourage you to apply. You can do that online. Another update is about public transit service in the district. An exciting news, Metro is currently running the most frequent service on the Red Line that it has had in over 6 years. Red Line trains during rush hour are arriving every 6 minutes. This is helping to relieve overcrowding during rush hour and make sure that trains are further away from capacity than they have been. At the same time, we're very focused on the WMATA Better Bus initiative. WMATA is working on what they're calling a visionary network, where they'll redesign really the entire bus network in DC to pursue a vision of what they feel will better serve all residents and make sure that neighborhoods are better connected and have more frequent service. Of course, they're currently on their draft plan, and we do feel there are some shortcomings in its proposed service for Ward 3. And Councilmember Fruman does look forward to hearing your thoughts on that matter, in addition to you sharing them with WMATA. So I'll put information in the chat about how you can share those thoughts. I know some 3F commissioners have already shared them with him at a recent meeting, and I'm interested to hear more about what you all think about that. The public comment period concludes on June 5th. Other than that, if you have constituent services needs, please do use the form, which I'll paste in the chat, and our office will be in touch with you shortly. And also, if you're interested in getting continued updates, please do sign up for our newsletter, which I'll also add in the chat. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christian. Yeah, and please put all that sort of stuff in the chat as well. Are there any questions from commissioners or the community?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, so the question I would have is there a list of all of the buses that will be removed from service through this new Better Bus initiative in one concise location for Ward 3 as well as throughout DC? My big concern is if the bus service that connects Ward 3 with, let's say, Ward 6, 7, and 8 is no longer in effect, where do we go from there? Because we need to be able to connect the city. Thank you.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought up that point. I think the Better Bus Initiative is a great opportunity to improve the connections between Ward 3 and neighborhoods all across the city, including east of the river, like you mentioned. And I'm not convinced that the current draft plan achieves that goal, like you noted. I don't believe that there's a list exclusively of the routes that were removed, because very few routes were eliminated in the way you might think. Most of them continue to exist in some form, just with changed routes. And so they go down different streets or end at different points. So it is a little difficult to sit down and compare the past route to the proposal. But that's sort of where we are. There are some changes in Van Ness, notably with the L2 service, and then with what was currently the H4 service. So that's very interesting. And I would be happy to talk more with you and also 3F's Transportation Committee about that at length in the coming months. Please do reach out to me.
Most certainly. And I presume that L1 will not be reinstated.
I would love to see that happen, but it does seem like WMATA is trying to have one consolidated.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Commissioner Hewitt. Any other questions from commissioners? Yep. Go ahead. Yeah.
To answer your question, just on the L1, it's actually, I think it's now the DC 102, and it does appear to go straight down Connecticut, unlike what the service we have now. And I can put the link to this. I'm so disappointed it's not DC 101. I'm so sorry. It's DC 102, and I can put the link to this new route in the chat because I've been looking at it, interested in having that direct, the most direct way for people to get downtown if people are going back to their offices again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any questions from the community? And of course, Christian, you'll be on the call for a few minutes. So if you have any questions, you can always just direct message him as well too. Thank you, Christian. Appreciate it. I just saw Matthew Barclay, our moker. So I think I'm going to put you on the spot if that's okay.
Oh.
If you can.
Hi, everyone. My name is Matthew Barclay. I'm your Ward 3 moker. Please come to me with any, things that you need to, help with in your community. In the chat, I've put a bunch of announcements. Mayor Bowser testified today before Congress, and you can read her full testimony at the link in the chat. Also, she held last week, Wednesday, a public safety and justice summit. You can also watch that at her Twitter link, also in the chat. There's a new DOB director for Department of Buildings, Brian Hanlon. He's had 35 years of experience. That was this week. DPRs has a bunch of senior events happening this week, or this month, sorry. There's a bunch of walking club events, and there's early bird hype at the very end of the month. So encourage you to register for those events at the links in the chat. Also, it's Passport DC month, and the next event is Fiesta Asia, so you can sign up for that. There's also a Veterans Career Fair. You can come to that. Links in the chat. It's also Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and there are some events at the library, a food night. This is also, there's a link in here to DPW Helping Hands clean up your community. You can borrow materials and things and go out there with DPW and clean up your community. Also, MPD is hiring, and they're going to have a hiring fair on Saturday. So that's all for me today. And my number and email are in the chat as well at the beginning.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. Commissioner Berry, I have a question.
Matt, I want to thank you very much for all your service and all your help. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I know that the community is very interested in the status of the pool over at the high school that had gone down earlier this year. And do you know when they might be bringing it back up?
I don't have any knowledge of that at the moment, but I will direct you to Chris Dyer at DPW or DPR, and he should be able to provide you with a better answer on that.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Christian Damiano looks like he has his hand up. He might be able to help with that.
Yeah, of course, Christian, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt your time, but if it's helpful, I can provide a little bit of an update. You can imagine Councilmember Freeman's office has been hearing quite a bit from neighbors regarding the Wilson Aquatic Center, and he shares your concerns. It's a pool he uses quite often, so he would like to see it open as much as you. So as you may know, there has been some difficulty reopening due to inspections, and so most recently, the update we got a few weeks ago was that the Department of Health had to re-inspect the facility and had not yet done so. And so that seemed to be the delay. Our understanding was that once that inspection is passed, the facility
You're
the
frozen.
HVAC
Oh,
at the
yeah.
facility. Sorry, is my connection?
Yeah. Can you say it one more time? Like you were gonna like, well, once this passed, and then you were gonna keep going to start from
Sorry, I
there.
apologize. So there's a larger issue with the HVAC at the Wilson Aquatic Center facility. And so that's going to need a replacement, and the parts it will need to conduct that replacement will take 6 to 9 months to actually come in. And so that short-term solution, once the Wilson Aquatic Center reopens, needs to support the facility for the duration of that time until the replacement can be installed. And so that's something for the community to be aware of, because while we would like to see the Wilson Aquatic Center open as soon as possible, there are some difficulties with infrastructure. And so Councilmember Furman continues to push DGS and DPR for improved transparency and interagency collaboration, which we feel is currently insufficient. And we're exploring other opportunities to make sure that access to pools is available for Ward 3 residents, especially in your corner of the ward.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Any questions from the community?
Yes, this is David Donaldson.
Go ahead.
Hi, I and many residents live on Van Ness Street, on the across from the UDC. And the problem I have there, and it's been a consistent problem, okay, for years, is that now that we have, I need to say, bicycles on the streets on Van Ness Street, you have parking on both sides of the street. And if those people that are familiar with this ANC location, I don't know who the ANC commissioner is, but that being said, on that street, you have at the end of the street, there's a cul-de-sac. And just recently this week, there was, again, at the cul-de-sac, illegal parking. They finally replaced a sign saying no parking. Obviously, they can't read that. But at the same time, when people are parking there, when an ambulance or a fire engine has to come through there, it can't get through. You can go around to Howard Law, or you're stuck there. And just recently, 2 days ago, I was coming home. I live in Van Ness East, and I was coming up Van Ness, and I had to wait there for about 20 minutes because there was a car accident. One guy was pulling out, and another car ran into that car. So crap. And I've talked, spit in the wind talking to Muriel, but the bottom line is that I want that road to be a one side of the street parking instead of two sides of the street parking. Because not only do you have two sides of the street parking, you also have trucks that park there and unload in each one of the buildings. And on top of that, you have, since COVID started, now you have food deliveries that just park there. So at any time, at any particular time of the road, if there's an emergency on Van Ness and people in Van Ness East are in a critical situation, they could die because those people leave the trucks and they go into the building. And it seems to be an ongoing thing, but nobody seems to put their finger on it. And you can the bottom line is the ANC commissioner there and the ANC in Ward 3 has got to step up to the plate, because it has continued and continued and continued. And it just seems to be the only answer is that's the way we are. And that's the wrong answer, especially if that ANC commissioner or any ANC commissioner lives on that street. And can imagine the case, they can't get to their parent or their friend or their child or their son or their daughter because the two-way traffic is blocked up. There's an accident, or there's three side people blocking the road. And it seems to
Oh.
be, and if the answer is going to be from the ANC, well, we'll get around to it. Well, that's the wrong answer.
David, just to clarify as well, I am the ANC commissioner. I live on Van Ness Street. I live at the Ava Van Ness, so I'm well aware of like the trucks and the lack of parking or just lack of parking space on that street. So let's try another time as well too, to get a sense of like the sort of the one side of the street parking as well too, what that would look like, and I can make sure the DC government can get involved with that. Okay.
That's what you said.
All right, awesome. Yeah. I will message you just your email, and then we can talk and chat from there then.
Right, you can find, I'm an at-large committee member of the Democratic State Committee in DC, so you're pretty much familiar with, I'm pretty much familiar with all 8 wards and Ward 3. And I know Matt pretty well. So and I wish him well. He's starting off on a good foot. And the bottom line is a lot of work to do in this ANC. Not only that, but right there in front of your neighborhood, the giant food store that continues to have people coming up to me and saying, Dave, and I don't know but somebody's got to do something about the front of that store. They harass me. I always get harassed when I go in the door by some of the less fortunate part of our community lives there. And we have issues, okay, in our community. But it seems as though that it goes uphill and then it gets better. And then 3 weeks later, we're back to the way we were.
Okay.
And
Thank you so much, David. I really appreciate your comments as well. We're also dealing with like the issues at Giant as well. Commissioner Hewitt is sort of working on that right now. But yeah, Dave, let's definitely chat about some of the stuff on my street as well too, because I want to be able to move on. Next person I have is Mary Beth. And then last going to be is Cash. And if you keep it about 1 minute, that'd be great just for sort of time's sake. Mary Beth, go ahead.
Yes, hello. I have a question about the proposed changes to the UDC campus master plan. I'm a resident of ANC3F. I'm a nurse. I've been a UDC student. I'm a member of the UDC Garden Club, which is an active student club for about 10 years. And we promote food equity and student health on campus and a sustainable campus. And in June of 2021, I testified at the Zoning Commission about the UDC campus master plan, raising concerns about changes to the green space that were proposed and the effects to our gardens there. And at the time, I volunteered to be on a university community task force. This was never followed through, and I was never invited to be on the task force. And the Zoning Commission then approved the campus plan, which did not mention the demolition of one of the largest buildings, Building 41, which is now being proposed to be demolished and replaced. On the original plan, that was not mentioned. And the original plan was approved by the Zoning Commission only on the condition that certain conditions were met. One of them was in reply to an ANC demand that there be more community involvement. And also the UDC Garden Club was to be involved in any decisions that were made, and that has never been met. So my question is, why is the demolition of one of the largest buildings of UDC, which would have a huge impact to the environment, to the students, and to the entire community, being spoken about as if it's a decision that's legal, that has been made, when the community has not really been included in the decisions as required by the Zoning Commission? Do you know about this? Do you know about this, Matthew? Are you familiar with this issue of the $73 million that is in Mayor Bowser's budget proposing to demolish one of the largest buildings there at UDC?
Commissioner Hewitt, you were going to say something?
If I could, so pardon me, ma'am, I didn't catch your name. Can you please say your
My name is Mary Beth Tinker.
So Miss Tinker, or can I call you Mary Beth?
Of course.
My name is Terry. I'm Commissioner 3F02.
Thank you, Terry.
So our last meeting, we actually did have a full presentation of that building.
Yes.
I will tell you that I am also a former student of UDC. I've worked at UDC. I know the campus very well. There was a great deal that was provided information-wise as well as visual as to what's going on. In reference to your concerns, I cannot address those directly, but I would say, what exactly is your need? What is it as a garden club member? What is it that what do you need?
We need the community to be involved in the decision, including the students and the School of Architecture, because apparently most students around UDC haven't even heard of this plan. And the zoning commission order, which was published in July of 2021, says that the ANC3F's recommended condition is that there be community outreach conditions requiring a university community task force to meet quarterly.
Okay,
I would like to know if that's been done and why I have not been included on that, since I volunteered at the hearing to be on it, and I'm concerned about students and community members not being in on this decision that would have such a huge impact. And I do realize, by the way, Terry, that there was a report on this at the last ANC meeting, and we listened to that because it was recorded, but it's being presented as if it's a done deal. The design is being presented and people are talking as if this is a decision that has been made when it is not a legal decision yet.
because we can't answer your question this time, let's schedule a time and we'll talk about it, but we do, Commissioner Tander, we do have a tight schedule. So if we could schedule the time to talk about it, that would be great. And maybe we can bring in the appropriate parties and get your answers.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Terry.
yeah. I mean, yeah, of course. Yeah.
I was really wondering if Matthew Barkley had heard about it from the mayor's office, because it's a huge proposed budget item from the mayor. But thank you very much, Terry. I'd like to meet and talk about this with you more. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I don't have any specific details, but I can find them for you and get back to you.
Thank you very much. I've got your email. Let's keep in touch.
Yeah, can you please send that to me, like your email? Or
Yes.
send me an email and then I'll follow up.
Thank you very much, Matthew. I'll do that.
And sorry for being off screen. I'm juggling 2 ANCs at the moment. So
Okay, I can see your smiling face right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you, Matt. Cash, go right ahead, and then we will need to move on.
Hi, everybody. Hello, everybody. My name is Keish Ladwahedi. I am also here because of my concerns about the proposed changes to the campus plan. I'm also a member of the UDC Garden Club. So I appreciate Commissioner Hewitt's offer to meet with us and answer our questions. I'm also very confused about how this project can be funded in the budget when the zoning commission hasn't even approved the demolition. I'm particularly concerned about the environmental impacts. I understand that there's an environmental approval that has to be granted for this project to proceed. The budget says that it's supposed to be done by June 1, 2024, and I'd like to know more about what the process is for studying the environmental impacts of this project. So hope to hear more from Commissioner Hewitt and Matthew Barkley. I'll put my email in the chat as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Cash. Yeah, I think this is going to be a continuing conversation. I do know that for that building, there'll be more conversations about the zoning process and whatnot too. And so we can definitely let you know dates and all that type of stuff too. Thanks, Cash, for reaching out. I want to be able to move on to Iona Health Services, then move on to action item number 8. Iona Health Services, are any of you all are here?
I'm here. It's Pleasant Silicki from Iona.
Hey, Pleasant, how's it going?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm the community outreach coordinator. We've been around for 47 years. We're currently applying for recompete to be the Ward 3 lead agency for aging adults. And so I reached out asking Ward 3 ANCs to please support us with a letter. And I was asked to present a little bit about Iona. So very quickly, I'll just show you. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. So I just wanted to do a little bit of an overview because a lot of times there's so much going on at Iona and we are holistic care services. So just like to give a little bit of an overview. We help serve over 4,000 older adults and caregivers in the DC area, navigating the journey of aging. We also have a really extensive volunteer program. So some of our personalized care for older adults includes our adult day health. We have 2 centers, one in Tenleytown and one in Congress Heights. Community care management. This is for Ward 3 residents only. So we have a number of programs that are just for Ward 3 residents since we do not have a senior rec center in Ward 3. And also care management, including dementia navigators and our money management program. Food and nutrition. We work closely with Feed the Family, and I often have a table there on Sundays, but we also have programs just for Ward 3 residents for supplements, education, and counseling. And then, of course, we have mental health support groups and caregiver groups. Some are paid and some are part of insurance and or other resources that we have. And then again, so many programs, just giving you this big wide overview. Aging Solo, which is an online program that we have around town DC with our socialization and lunch and classes online and in person at a variety of Ward 3 locations. Also, our St. Albans program is extremely robust. We make calls. We have Miss Vicky, who is amazing, and she does our socialization calls. If you have any aging adults who would need some support or just someone to check in with. And our in-home peer support program, which was a pilot program where we actually hired part-time aging adults to go check on and take care of and do odds and end to-dos and tasks with other Ward 3 aging adults. Actually, that was citywide. And then, of course, memory support and managing life. The main thing when I'm speaking about Iona that I want everybody to know in our community and in this city and the whole area is this helpline here is staffed 9 to 5 Monday through Friday by a social worker. And you can call about any of this, caregiving, groups, volunteering. And this is a resource that is just wonderful for our community. I think I did the quick and dirty. So any questions, comments, I'll put my email in the chat. I love to come to events and bring resource guides, our very popular resource guide. I like to bring copies of it to apartment buildings. I'm happy to deliver any. So I can't wait to work with you more.
Awesome. Thank you, Pleasance. Commissioner Carlson.
Pleasance, can you put the helpline in the chat so I can copy and paste that? And then I just want to give a shout out to the lending closet, which is just an amazing resource. I feel like once a month I hear of somebody who needs crutches or, you know, they have everything. An urgent need, you know, your parent falls, they have the potty seat, everything you need, and everybody should know about it. So it's just an amazing resource. Thanks for telling us more about it.
And on both ends, also, if you're caring for someone or you have extra items, we take them as a donation, right? So I love that reciprocity in the community of like, oh, I have this, this was great for our family, now we'll share it, and then you can come get it. So that's really what Iona is all about, that reciprocity for community.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pleasance. I really appreciate it. Oh, Commissioner Hewitt, you were going to say something?
I would also just give a shout out from an apartment perspective. I have neighbors who are aging in place and who needed help, and Iona services were actually called, and the those, I don't know if they're social workers or who they are, they were just amazing. And you see the transformation in my neighbors who really needed it. It's just wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you so much, Pleasance. Alrighty, so we're going to move on to our next ticket item, which is our regular agenda information items. None of these are like a vote, these are mainly speakers. As amended, we are allowed to put MPD up on the front. I believe we have lieutenants. Are you on the call right now? I know we had a little bit of trouble earlier. Are you able to join us?
Yes, I'm here, Lieutenant Oliver.
Awesome, go right ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you mostly, yes.
Okay, I think there's a little delay going on.
Okay, we can hear you now though, so go ahead.
Okay, in reference to 203, let me make sure it's the right PSA that I have because I'm actually covering 3 PSA tonight. So I think this is 203, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, in reference to 203, I think I addressed this body before, but you guys have a significant amount of theft from autos going on right now. You know, comparing from last year at the same time, I did a 30-day comparison, and theft from autos right now is 23. As of last year, at the same time, it was 6. Also, you guys have robberies and the flash mobs at CVS is what I think everybody wants to talk about. In reference to the flash mobs at CVS, we have the regional loss prevention person working with us right now. It's a problem throughout the entire district, not just 203. My PSA 201 is getting hit hard, 208, and it is a problem. So we are working on it. Just give us some time. We believe we have made some breakthroughs in the case, and we're working on it. We're very anxious about this. So just give us some time on that. As far as the robberies, you had 3 robberies in the past 30 days. Let's see. You had a robbery at 3200 Ellicott Street. That happened on May 13th. This was a robbery gun. The suspect pointed a gun at the person and took the victim's pocketbooks. No injuries reported in that. You have a carjacking that happened at 2950 Van Ness on May 11th. The case is still open. The detectives are working on it. 4 suspects approached the owner in the vehicle, pointed a weapon, and took off with the vehicle. You have 1 robbery, force, and violence, where the suspect used a stun gun, I believe, and stunned the victim and took a pocketbook and ran off with it. That happened at 3701 Connecticut. That's still an open case we're working on. And the last one, correction, I said 4 robbery. There's 3 robbery and a burglary. The last one is a burglary of a store. And that was at 3520 Connecticut Avenue. They just did some destruction and made off with some property from the store. Other than that, the biggest thing we have in your PSA would be the theft from autos. I'd like to remind everybody, please remove all items from your vehicles as much as you can, out of sight, out of mind. We're going to start handing out flyers and have more of a police presence in the area. Anybody have any questions?
Awesome, thank you so much, Lieutenant. I'll start with commissioners. Commissioner Carlson, go right ahead.
A couple questions, because the theft, I actually arrived right after a theft from auto on Linian about a week and a half ago. Could you let
What street is that?
I'm sorry, it was on Linian Avenue between Fessenden and Ellicott. It was about 10 days ago, I think. Theft from auto. It was about, I think 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I think we got the plate number from somebody's camera. So we call the police non-emergency number, but what I'd like to ask of you, because this may happen to some other people on the phone, what should we do? What's the best, what should a citizen do? Do we call the police non-emergency number? What are we looking for? How can we help? Other than out of sight, out of mind, which is good advice. But if we witness a theft from auto, or if we're helping to clean up one, what are the steps we should take? What do we need to know? We should call police non-emergency. I think she said they weren't going to pursue, even though we had the license plate number. How does that work?
That's actually not true. If it's happening in real time, you're there, you see it happen, call 911.
Okay.
We will respond as quick as possible. If they're gone by the time we get there, and you have a video, picture, whatever, submitted to the officers will do the report for the victim. Most of the time, the victim's not there. They come back hours later and they see it, but we'll actually do the report for the registered owner, and then they could contact us for more information if they need to. We'll leave a card on their windshield, or they'll come up to the station and try to report it. But definitely call 911.
Okay, if we think it's within a timely manner. Can I ask one more question, James?
Okay,
My second question is about the flash mob situation, because I know I have several neighbors who've been in a CVS when it's happened. Obviously, it's a little bit scary. Do you consider this copycat crimes? Because there was just one at the New Hampshire 7-Eleven where 40 kids went in and just destroyed a 7-Eleven over the weekend. Or do you think this is a group of do you guys know, is it an organized group of people that are going around the city, or are we getting copycat crimes? When we had our walkthrough with members of MPD, they said, they're not scared of us anymore. MPD is even there, and they don't feel like there are going to be any repercussions, and so they don't shy away of going in and doing these petty thefts because there aren't repercussions. So I guess that's two questions. Sorry.
Okay. Well, we have very few copycat crimes with that. It's a team of individuals that are running out and doing this, and they're hitting us almost every day. They're hitting at least one or two CVS in 2E, and they move to 3D, 4D, 5E, throughout the city. They're using stolen vehicles, mostly the Kias and the Hondas. We notice for a fact because we're catching them on camera, and we seeing the license plate, everything, but they're stolen vehicles. But there's very few copycats. Every once in a while, we'll have somebody, a lone person. But when we talk about the mini mobs, we're talking about 6 individuals at a time jumping out of a car, running into the store, snatching as much stuff they can get, and jumping back in the vehicle, and then they're on their way. CVS have placed have partnered with us to try and I'm trying to say this without giving away everything. They had partnered with us to try and limit this stuff and catch the individuals that's doing it. And it's the same people that are doing the flash mob stuff. And that's what we know. In reference to your other part of the question, I had an officer walk up to me. He was in my PSA up in 5600 block where the CVS is. Actually, it's 5500 block. He said the dude approached him and said, "When are you going to leave? You're messing up my business." So yes, the officers are right. They're bold. They're brazen. Because they're not afraid of us because there's no consequences to the action. We cannot chase them. We cannot get into a vehicle pursuit, not for property, because it's a big liability there. I hope I answered both your questions.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir.
I just want a quick question too. Also just a quick comment as well. I know this is recent, but there is now security guards at the CVS at Van Ness. It may have been around for like a little bit, but I know this is like I just recently saw it just like the other day, and I go in at least a couple days a week, and there never was security, so now there is, because I know that was like a concern for people in the community for that CVS in terms of like security, but there is a person there now. I do want to ask Lieutenant as well. What are some of the ways in which you are working with just other government agencies for mental health supports? I have a constituent of mine who she's infamous in the community. I won't say like her name, but she's been arrested multiple times, like in on like our streets. And oftentimes it's still happening the same behaviors, right? And oftentimes like enforcement is really not oftentimes the answer for this person. So I'm curious as to how you're working with like DBH, Office of Neighborhood Safety, DHS as well too. What are some of the ways which you're partnering with other agencies to ensure some of the more proactive measures for safety than just simply arresting someone? Because for some of our neighbors, like that doesn't work even after like multiple repeated offenses.
Right. So our go-to would be DBH to try and get the individual help. We have CIO officers if they're needed, and they'll come out, they'll interview the individual, and then they'll make their recommendations to DBH. The CIO officers, the crisis intervention officers, that's what CIO means. They often call DBH on scene while they're there and explain to them everything they have, and DBH give them guidance on what to do. So our main two, because it is a DC government, we call DBH mostly for individuals that mental health consumers.
Okay, thank you so much. Any other questions from commissioners? Last question, Commissioner Carlson.
Sorry. So maybe if Matt Barkley is still available, I wondered if he might speak to some of the issues of, from a policy standpoint, why they can't be arrested. I know the mayor spoke to this today, and I unfortunately I haven't been able to catch up with that news yet, about what her policy is for toughening up on crime. Sorry to put you on the spot there again, Matt, while you're over at another ANC.
I mean, same room. Just kidding. So would you like to talk to me, or you'd like me to talk on her new proposal?
I just didn't know if it could relate at all to the fact that part of what's happening is, the perpetrators aren't feeling like there are consequences. And Lieutenant was saying, they can't pursue over property. They're not, I don't exactly know what the threshold is for arresting. But I feel like when I was reading some of the lead up to the mayor's crime speech today, testimony, that maybe those were some of the things that were going to be addressed.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to know the answer to that question either, because I really put you on the spot, and it's something that just happened.
Yeah. So,
can I say something to this?
Is this Lieutenant?
Lieutenant, go ahead and make your comment.
Okay, so in reference to the flash mob at CVS, they have some their policies, CVS policies, not ours. Okay. They have a policy where if it's less than $100, they don't even call us. They also have a policy that they're willing to change right now, that if the flash mob comes in, wait till they're gone, wait till they leave. So sometimes they're there for like 6 minutes, which would give us enough time to get there, and we can make arrests. We will make the arrest. But by the time they call us, they're gone. It's 5-10 minutes later, and all we have is just a report. So it's not just that we can't make arrests, it's just that CVS policies, which they're willing to change right now, that's hindering us from doing our job.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for the questions. Are there any community-based questions? I'm only going to allow 5 minutes for that, just for time's sake as well. Are there any questions from the community? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lieutenant. I really appreciate you joining our call.
Sorry, I've got a question. Sorry, I don't know how to raise my hand. I apologize.
Okay, that's
This
fine.
is
Go
Josh.
ahead. Okay,
So
go
I wanted
ahead.
to ask our police officer colleague, you mentioned you're going to put more police presence in our district, but I'd like to have the specifics if you can. Is it more cops? Is it on the street? Is it
No,
more people?
it's not more cops. It's gonna be like the focus policing that the chief had talked about earlier. The chief and the mayor talked about earlier. I think it was last week or week before. We're gonna have the police more present in these areas that are having issues.
Sorry, I missed. I didn't see what the mayor or the chief said about it. Could you tell us what that means?
Okay, so focus policing is basically if there's issues like the CVS where they're hitting 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, flash mount, then we're going to focus the officers. The officers are going to focus in that area when they're not on assignments. They'll come to that area, spend time, do foot beat, walk around, make sure everything is good. And then when they get assignments, obviously they'll have to go take the assignments. So the presence will be a lot more than it is right now. Instead of going from assignment to assignment, you're trying to focus problem areas.
So just to clarify, Lieutenant, is it the idea that you're just going to focus primarily on the CVS? I'm just trying to just clear because it's kind of hard to hear you a little bit, or
yeah, not just the CVS, because some areas have it's a problem. Not just the CVS. We're not there for the CVS. We're there for the area itself. But because these crimes are happening in CVS, that's why we're talking about it.
okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, Commissioner Hewer, go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Lieutenant Oliveri. So I think what I understand is the focus police, it's already ongoing. From what I understand, I see, and I've had constituents come to me with concerns specific to the Giant and the CVS area. And what I've noticed is, if you notice at night, individuals who live in the area, you will see police, MPD, let's say somewhere in the block between Calvert Woodley and Giant. So, or you'll see them maybe a block or so past, I can't think of the road, it begins with a B, I can't think of the name of the street. Brandywine, yes. So you will see, usually I see them around 9:30, 10 at night. You'll see them in the daytime, but really at nighttime, you'll see them if that's the focus police. So it's not specific to one store or building, but in a general area where there are target issues. And while I have you, I just want to clarify something you said, Lieutenant Oliveri. You said that when there's a real-time crime, when it's real time and the crime is in the moment, of course, you call 911. But if someone has broken into a car, the remnants are there. I think my notes are that we call 911 if we have evidence, whether that's a picture or information, and then give that to the MPD officer, and then the officer will leave a card on the car or the location for the individual to contact MPD. Is that roughly
Okay,
it?
so if the crime has already occurred and you discover it like maybe hours later,
yes,
we have a TRU, your telephone reporting unit. You just call 911. 911 is the go-to call for everything. So you just call 911 and they will direct the call accordingly. Depends on what you have. Me personally, I like to get the officers go out there because sometimes everybody sees things differently. So I get the officers go out there and take the report. A lot of times it do come to the district for the officers to respond. It depends on the time that lapsed. But some people do call in like 2 days later, and that's cold to us at this point. So they may reroute you to the telephone reporting unit and have you report it there. And then it will show up on our end. And then we start the investigation from that point. But
thank you. Oh, sorry, sir.
Call 911.
Thank you. Very much appreciate that, sir.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lieutenant. Is it possible for you to you can either say your email or put your email like in the chat as well? And I guess any more consider have any questions regarding crime in PSA 2 or 3? Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Lieutenants. We
All
will,
right. Have a good evening.
awesome. Take care. Have a good one. Our next speaker is going to be the Office of Campaign Finance. I believe I saw Dolores Ramsey or Natasha Alexander, or either one of you on the call.
Belinda, sorry.
Oh, hi, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you. I will be presenting tonight on behalf of the Office of Campaign Finance. Okay, my name is Belinda Kittles Perry. I'm an attorney advisor with the Office of Campaign Finance, Office of General Counsel, and thank you for having me here this evening. I am very impressed with your tight schedule, and I will keep you moving along, and I will make this as condensed as possible. I see time is now of the essence. So if you have any questions, you are free to ask me them. You're free to email me or check our website for additional information. But I'm going to give you the nuts and bolts and an overview, a brief overview of the Office of Campaign Finance. So the Office of Campaign Finance is made up of several components. And one component is the traditional campaign finance section, which is entrusted with auditing campaigns in the traditional sense, in the traditional elections. Then you have the Office of Records, and then you have the Office of Training, then you have the Office of General Counsel. We issue interpretive opinions, and we are responsible for the enforcement of campaigns in general. But the most exciting and the most recent and most progressive part of our program, which you are now all very familiar with, is the Fair Elections Program. The Fair Elections Program has been implemented, or was implemented in 2018 after a very extensive search, after research, after trips to New York, New Haven, Connecticut, different places that have a progressive campaign finance program, public service program. And our program was put together based on these models. To date, there are 36 jurisdictions across the nation that have a similar type of program. We are not a hybrid program, though. We are a straightforward publicly financed program, which is really awesome. Our program is very robust. We offer $5 for every $1 that is presented, that is based upon a contribution. There are very strict parameters, and the parameters give you the basis for being part of the program. So to become a participant in the program, you must be certified. To become certified, you must adhere to certain, again, restrictions and certain parameters within the program. But just as a little historical moment, the purpose of the program, as you know, is designed to level the playing field, to be inclusive, to allow participants who might not otherwise be part of the electoral process to become involved. So you don't have to chase big money. You don't have to chase corporate donations. You're not beholden to individuals who are already, financiers or sponsors of donations in the past. So it's really changing the outlook and the makeup of constituents and for constituents and for candidates, and opening the door. So as you know, we've had 2 complete election cycles, and most of the candidates have come through the Fair Elections Program, and it has been extremely successful. So going forward, we're looking forward to it. So I'm going to give you some of the nuts and bolts, which you can find on our fact sheets, but I'm just going to give you that as a very bare bones deconstruction of what the program is about. So as you know, the seats that are participating in the program are for mayor, attorney general, councilman, council at large, and the State Board of Education at large, and the ward seats. Participating candidates must agree to lower the contribution. So the traditional candidates can take higher amounts, but those participants in the Fair Elections Program must take a reduced contribution, which by statute is limited, and they fluctuate based on the seat itself. So for instance, for the covered office of mayor, the contribution would be a maximum of $200. That's currently $2,000 for the traditional program. For attorney general, $200 again, $1,500 under the traditional program. The council chair, $200, currently $1,500 under the traditional program. The at-large council member is limited to a $100 contribution, with currently a $1,000 contribution under the traditional system. So you can see there's a very big disparity in the contributions, but then realize for every dollar that is contributed from a DC resident owning, that contribution is matched 5 times. Now, the candidate is not restricted to just district resident contributions. However, those are the only contributions that will be matched at a rate of 5 to 1. So you can receive contributions from out of the jurisdictions, but again, it's not matched. You are limited if you decide to be a participant in this program. You are limited to corporate donations. You're limited to PAC contributions. There are fair elections PACs, but currently none exist at the present moment. And you have to participate in a minimum of 1 debate if you are in a contested citywide race and there are competitors in that same race. So you do have to submit to that, and the benefit of that, or the purpose of that, is that your constituents will be able to see, hear, and generate more interest, and also you will be accountable to your constituents. So the whole objective of public financing is freeing the candidate up from knocking on doors, begging for money, and not paying attention to his constituents. So now you have all of your time to promote to the needs of your constituents. And it has changed the playing field in so many ways. And we're very excited about this. So the way it works, in order to qualify, not only just to promote, to see that you have the fundamental support of voters, you have to have a certain amount of participants as donors that are residents with that small dollar amount to qualify. So once you get that small amount of people, so you have to do that to contribute to enter into the race to get certified. So for instance, I'm going to give you another dollar breakdown. For the seat of mayor, you have to have 1,000 small dollar contributors, and that would be a minimum total amount of $40,000. That gets you in the door to be in the race, then to get 5 to 1 match for every dollar. And then it goes down in the descending order. That's 500 contributors for a total amount of 20,000 for Attorney General, 300 contributors for 15,000 for council chairman, and 250 contributors for an at-large council member for a total of $12,000, 150 small dollar contributors for a total of $5,000 for a ward council race or an at-large state board race. And then finally, 50 small dollar contributors for a total minimum amount of $1,000, and that's for the ward State Board of Education member. Then there is also integral to the design of the program, there's a cap, there's a maximum cap for payout for each of these descending seats, as I stated. That cap is designed by statute based on a formula of a aggregate average of the preceding elections. So that shifts and changes every year based on the election results, but it is a static and fixed, not static, it is a fixed computation. So once the individual is certified based on meeting that threshold, they then go through a process where they are entitled to a base payment amount. So this is an upfront infusion of money that allows the candidate to really come up to speed and be a real contender in a race. And then once they qualify for the actual ballot, so now you're sure that you're dealing with a serious contender and somebody that is competitive, then they receive the second half of that base amount. So those base amounts are, again, by statute, and those base amounts are as in descending order. They are $160,000 for the office of mayor, $40,000 for the office of attorney general, and $40,000 for the office of the council chair, and the ward council, and $10,000 for the office of the State Board of Education. Now, traditionally, we've had 2 cycles now, so 2020, 2022. The cap on the payout for the mayor of the as of the last cycle was 3,544,000. For council, 616,000. For attorney general, 825,000. At large, 333,000. Ward, 233,000, and Ward State Board of Education, 33,000. Again, that cap was based on a look back of 100%, 110% of the average expenditures of all the winning candidates in the 4 previous elections. So those are the parameters. There are filing requirements that are extremely transparent. All of the filings go on the website. You as a citizen can look on that website and see who contributed. You can see what campaign person spent what. All of the reports are filed. Anybody that's delinquent, that is fined, an order is placed on the website. The beauty of this program is that every single candidate, every campaign, unlike the traditional campaign where the audits are randomly selected, every single participant in this program is audited under a robust audit. And then the DC auditor audits the auditor. So there is a double layer of protection in this program. Again, we have embraced the community in the inception and the building of this program. And we've had focus groups and people contributed at our oversight hearings. People contribute. We're always looking to expand the program and allow the program to grow. The beauty also is that there have been more candidates coming through this program and winning candidates. So as you know, several sitting council members to date are products of this program. And we look forward to the next cycle for 2024, when we will have 2 at-large seats. We will have a Ward 4 and 2 School Board of Education seat and an at-large. We will have a Ward 7 and 8 council seat. And of course, our presidential election, which will spur in a lot of people out to vote. So we anticipate a very full voting cycle. And so there are fact sheets for both the fair elections program and for the traditional program. They are being revised for the new election cycle, and they should be available on the website and for distribution shortly. One other major factor, which should be of great interest and comfort, is that each year, pursuant to the statute following an election cycle, the Office of Campaign Finance is entrusted to conduct a national survey in order to look at our program and then critique our own program and add or detract or add or modify anything that they think is, make those recommendations to the council. So we are constantly growing, we are constantly self-monitoring and being monitored at the same time. And the public is with us every step of the way. This is the most transparent and the purest form of public financing program in pretty much all of the jurisdictions that I've researched to date. And again, it is growing. I anticipate that every jurisdiction, every state at least, will have this program in short time, if not now as we speak. My survey is 1.5 years old, but things happen, as we know, every day. So I'm looking forward to you spreading the word and everyone participating. Unfortunately, as you know, right now, the ANCs are not part of the funding process for this, but we're gonna keep hope alive and hopefully that might be expanded going forward in the future. So that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free. If I can answer them, if not, I will take information and get back to you.
Thank you so much, Belinda. I really appreciate this presentation. Could you put in the chat as well your email as well as the website to sort of learn all about this sort of information? I'm sure hopefully people will, be inspired the idea of running next year, whether it's for ANC commissioner up to the mayor. It's not for the mayor, but for several council members itself.
Yes.
Yes. Are there any questions from the commissioners at all? Alrighty. Any questions from the community? Karen, did you have a question?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Ms. Perry, I just missed the last thing you said. Something is not presently included in your process?
Oh, financing for the ANC positions.
Financing for the ANC.
Yeah, public financing. It's not that
Oh,
not currently covered, but as I say, we'll keep hope alive going forward. It might be included.
okay.
The small but mighty ANC commissioners, for sure.
That's for sure. Very important part of our structure. And I do just want to, this is a general announcement, and if you could help me spread the word, it appears that many ANC commissions have not filed the required one-time only form, the summary financial statement of candidate form, which is due, I believe, 60 days after the election. And I don't know if it's an oversight because it's just a large amount of people that have not filed, like 60 something people. And I believe there also may be some confusion with the Board of Ethics and Government Accountability form that is required to be filed. So they are two separate forms. So get the word out if you might, for us to just avoid any proceedings or hearings or anything, any negative impact. We would like to resolve it as soon as possible. So just file that form, the summary financial statement of a candidate for the office of member of an advisory neighborhood commission act, form 18. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Belinda, if you can just put like your email address as well as that linked website. I will also just message you my email address and you can email me those forms and I can make sure I can email it to other commissioners in 3F as soon as I can.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much. Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good evening. Take care.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
All righty. Our next speaker is going to be DC Street, the lighting project with DDOTs. I believe Ashley Wells, you are in the call, correct? Oh, even sharing the screen. Love it.
I'm here. Hello. All right. So I'm Ashley Wells here for the DC Smart Street Lighting Project. I also have on the line with me Stanislaw. His name is Stanislaw Matthew, and he'll be able to answer any questions you might have. So for this project, what we are doing is we are modernizing the streetlights in DC. We are updating over 72,000 of the streetlights, and what we're doing is converting them to this LED technology. Along with the conversion with the new lights, we're also adding some remote monitoring capabilities. So on the back end, we'll be able to see when the light goes out, and the plan is to get ahead of it in terms of fixing, and before all the calls start rolling in, we can already be aware and have a response ready. Also with these updates, this conversion, we're going to be increasing our sustainability efforts. It's going to reduce the streetlight consumption. And over in wards 7 and 8, we're also adding some wireless access points. So our project timeline back May 2022, contract signed and ready to go. The back end work, just getting everything rolling, selection of lights and all that good stuff is happening. And then in Q1 of this year, we began our rehab work. So over in wards 5, 7, 8, they're the first group. Rehab work, or throughout the city, rehab work is taking place and making sure the poles are ready for the lights. And then 2023, conversion work started. So over in wards 5, 7, 8, we've begun our conversion work. So in those areas, you can start to see differences in the lights that have been converted and from what was existing. And then continuing on through May 2037, we are responsible for asset management, which is just our maintenance phase. So we're responsible for making sure the lights are up, running, doing what they're supposed to do, what we're committed to. Our design and construction phase. So as I said before, wards 5, 7, 8 are the first group to get the lights, and you all wards 2, 3, and 4 are group 2, and then 1 and 6 will round it out. So the way that this is broken down is we have the wards and we have the ANCs. The ANCs are then broken into bundles. There's about 5 bundles per ANC. And then we have to do work within each bundle no longer than 14 days. So it should be a pretty quick process, not too in the way for you all. And then again, asset management, that's our maintenance phase, and we're responsible for just maintaining the lights, making sure everything's up and running the way it's supposed to all the way through May of 2037. So right now we are in our outreach and engagement phase. We are doing our notification. 45 days prior, we need to let you all know that the work is coming. 7 days prior to the start of work is when you're going to start to see those door hangers and notification cards going out, just saying, hey, we're coming to the area. And then 72 hours before work is when you're going to see the emergency no parking signs going up. You can reach us by scanning this QR code here. It'll take you to our website, streetlights.dc.gov. And also you can email us if you have any questions after today at info@dcsmartstreetlights.com. And that is all. And we have Stan on the line if there are any questions.
Love it. Record timing right there. Look at that. Just like short, sweet to the point for sure. Any questions from commissioners? I'll just ask a quick question. So, can you go back to the slide that has like the group 1 through 3 of the district of the map?
Yes.
Yeah. So since we're group 2 in Ward 3, do you have an idea of date of when those lights would put up within ANC3F? I guess, yeah, I mean both like on Connecticut Avenue as well as like the side streets.
So yes, good question. So good evening, everyone. So I'm Stanislas Mathieu with Plenary Infrastructure DC, the private entity that's partnering with the district to make that happen. So, and I'm specifically the project manager for this design and construction phase. I'm not able to answer your question precisely regarding ANC3F, but what I can tell you about the group of wards 2, 3, and 4, don't expect to see us before next September. Currently, we are really focusing on Ward 5, 7, and 8, and we started 1.5 months ago about the conversion, and it will take up to end of August to achieve that, and then we'll move to the next group of wards. And we are active in the 3 wards in parallel. So meaning that starting in September, we'll be in Ward 2, 3, and 4 for all those conversion works and for the rehabilitation works too at the same time. What I can tell you about your ANC specifically, we are talking about roughly 1,000 of lights within ANC3F. And as mentioned by Ashley, there is maximum 5 bundles per ANC. In your ANC, there are 2 bundles of roughly 500 lights each, meaning that we're gonna spend around 5 days to do the conversion works within your ANC. So not disturbing your neighborhood period of time.
And just to clarify, when you say next September, do you mean September 2023 or 2024?
2023.
Okay.
Yes.
So
yes,
so
because
to me that's sometime this September, the lights will start to be put in.
that would be the earliest, but you can connect to the website. You will see regularly some update on this website about the schedule and everything. And yes, because we have to achieve all these works for the conversion rehabilitation works prior to May 2024. Everything should be done at that time.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you so much. Commissioner Carlson, you have a question.
Yes, I know you guys are already in process here, but there are some environmental implications of both lighting in general, which we have to do, but also changing to LED and the color, the impact on bats. Can you just talk a little bit? And I don't want to take up too much time on this, but have you guys? I'm sure there was a process that went on to this. Is there some sort of color? Something you've taken into account in order to think about the environmental impact of these new brighter lights?
Yes, for sure. So what I can tell you specifically about the LEDs, that the range of emission of the light is really really narrow compared to the traditional lights, HID, so high pressure sodium lamps. So there's no infrared at all, for instance, in the LED. That's really all the lights that is emitted by these LEDs are in the visual range of frequencies. So that's really, very good, first. Then secondly, as per the digital requirements in terms of environmental impact, we are only allowed, and they have approved all the lights we're going to put on, we are only allowed with what we call uplight. So all the lights that's going up above the horizontal. So we are not only going to emit some light, maximum is 10%. that's really very, very low compared to the existing. So currently there's a lot of light going up in the air and disturbing animals and the like, and now there won't be anymore. That's 10%. That was really very stringent for us to respect, but we have been able to achieve that, and that's what we're going to install.
Awesome. Thank you so
very
much.
for answering that question. I really appreciate the thought that went into that, because there is an environmental impact for using LEDs as well.
Yeah. And the main impact is on the CO2 emissions, of course, because we're going to reduce by half the energy consumption of the district for the lighting.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All righty, awesome. Thank you so much. Any commissioners, any other questions? Okay, community members, any other questions? And I only
James?
have time. Yeah. I'm only have time for one question from the community, and then we have to move on. So Karen, go ahead.
I wanted to follow up with a question about what's called the color of the light. I noticed in one of the photographs in this presentation that the quote unquote color was extremely white. And I'm trying to understand why you cannot use a lower Kelvin light, which puts out a more mellow color, even though the amount of illumination is the same. It's just the color is more mellow, and it's much easier on animals at night and on people at night. The very white light makes it harder for people to sleep. It's a health hazard for animals and people.
Okay, so the answer I can provide you is that the contract is really very prescriptive with regards to this color temperature. So we have two types of lights depending on the location. That's a residential area or business area or so. We have 2700 Kelvin and 3000 Kelvins only. So that's as per the prescription of the contract. I'm going to follow that.
2700 Kelvin and what, 30?
And 3000. So 3000 Kelvin and 2700 Kelvin.
And the 27 is residential. Is that what you mean?
I don't recall which one goes where precisely. I have to check that. But
the 3000 is a higher Kelvin.
Yes.
You know, bearable Kelvin is considered 1700. So what you're saying is your contract required you to use these much whiter lights, but they are unhealthy, but you were required to use them. That's what you're saying, right?
Correct. I can't tell you more.
Yeah, no,
that's
very unfortunate, because there's been a lot of scientific studies of the color of light, the whiteness of light versus a more mellow color, and the impacts on people and nature.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, DDOT, for coming on in. I really appreciate this conversation. And please keep us updated as to when Ward 3 and specifically our group and bundle will get notified. Because I want to make sure we want to inform the public and the ANC about that as well. So thank you both, Ashley, and thank you both. Tell me to pronounce your last name again.
Call me Stan. Stan. That's
Okay,
all. That's perfect.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Stan. Have a good night.
Thank you all for your time. Thanks.
All righty, awesome. We're going to move on to our monthly DC water update. I do know that Commissioner Bear wants to give an introduction first before we get started. I just want to get a sense of who is on the call. Okay, again, just share the screen right away. Commissioner Bear, do you want to give your brief introduction first?
Sure. Thank you very much. I want to thank DC Water for one more month coming in and making this presentation to us. This month, I asked DC Water to focus in on the bypass systems, the one that was in place for the initial CIPP work, and the second one that will be installed when the remainder of the CIPP work in the valley will be done. I also note that DC Water has posted on its website the data and information from the first 5, what they call shots, which are the first 5 sections of sewer line that was relined, and they'll have some pictures today on what the sewer line looked like before and after the relining. But they've posted that information, that data on the website, and I know that there have been a number of constituents who've notified me or have contacted me about that data. Tonight, we probably won't have enough time because of the hour to go through those questions on the data, and I myself have a few questions on that data. What I'm going to do is ask DC Water to come in next month and during its presentation, talk about the data that was collected for those first 5 shots, and then allow questions on it. And I'm now going to turn it over to Emmanuel and his team for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bear. DC Water, go right ahead.
Hey, good evening, everyone, commissioners. Just jump right in. I know we're limited on time. Here's just a updated look at the project map, the site map. We've completed pour shots 1 through 5, which are indicated by the yellow segment, the yellow highlighted segment. So that work's been complete. The certification process and QA/QC of that is under review. Moving forward, that's just the project background. I think we all are familiar with this information here, as well as the benefits. Just a status update. Once again, our construction hours are 7 a.m. through 7 p.m. and that's Monday through Saturday. Current status where we are. The CIPP liner for shots 1 through 5 have been successfully installed. So far, shots 1 and 2 have been accepted by DC Water. Shots 3, 4, and 5 are currently under post-CCTV review. And then preparation for CCTV of the remaining sewer lines. That work will begin once the QA/QC process is complete. And then we'll also be continuing stream work at Site 1. Some activities that you'll see at Site 1 from May through the end of June. Just continuing on that stream work, installing the rock walls and cascades. Towards the end of June, once that work is complete, we'll do a final inspection of the site and then prepare for mobilizations to sites 5 and 6 to begin stream work at those locations. Here's just a quick view of our schedule. This past week, like I said, our team was reviewing the post-CCTV footage of the installations, continuing that stream work at Site 1. Continue installing the imbricated rock wall. In the following week, some of these dates may be off. We plan on beginning the installation and testing of sewer bypass, and that's currently pending acceptance. So some of these dates may shift. I don't want to dive into this too hard. And so some activities at Site 1 that'll continue, that's rock hauling and delivery to the site to continue building the rock walls there. The stream bypass pumping at that location, that'll continue until we complete that work, so until the end of June. And the sewer bypass work, the sewer bypass pumping, that will begin again once we get to that next phase of CIPP work. And once again, that date will be determined once the installed shots are fully accepted. Just a quick status update. Like I said earlier, our contractor submitted the post CCTV for DC Water for review. They're currently reviewing CCTV footage from the installed segments. We anticipate to remove the existing sewer bypass pretty soon based on acceptance, and we'll meet with our contractor to determine which location they plan on setting up the other bypass. So that's still in the works as of right now. And we anticipate the week of May 22nd, which may be pushed some to begin that installation of the next bypass. The following week, the week of May 29th, we anticipate doing the CCTV work of the CIPP portions of the sewer line. These photos are just placeholders for when you share your presentation with some of the wider audience. I think we've all seen these. Just some information on the bypass pumps. Currently, the bypass pump is located at Audubon Terrace near the park entrance. And that bypass system is routinely monitored for any deficiencies. Also, when the pump is operating, there is we have a guy there monitoring the pump as it runs. And as I mentioned, after we complete the QA/QC process, this bypass setup will be relocated. And we'll share that location once we coordinate with our contractor. Here's a shot of what the sewer line looks like before CIPP, and a shot of that same segment of line after the CIPP was installed. So you can see the protection around the piping, and that went pretty well. For stakeholder engagement, we'll continue attending these ANC monthly meetings. I took some notes on what you mentioned, Commissioner Bear, on some things for next month. So we plan to see you next month and have that prepared as well. And with that, if you have any questions or concerns, here's the best way to contact our team. We have a 24-hour project hotline, which is 202-301-8058. And then also for any updates or to be added to our mailing list, please just email me to soapstone.info@dcwater.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, y'all. I appreciate you guys coming on consistently, monthly. Really appreciate it. Any questions from commissioners at all? Okay. Any questions from the community? I see Marjorie, you have a question.
Yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. Hi, DC Water. I looked at the data that you put up on the site late afternoon, so I haven't dived into it in great depth. But what I see of concern is, and this really baffles me, is that there is styrene present on the report. So I'm wondering how this occurred when you promised your regulator, the DOEE, and the community and your customers that you were going to use non-styrene liners. So that was one question. Two, what did you send to DOEE? What have they looked at? And then the third thing is on the testing, I'm wondering, you cannot get spikes. You have a report on the spikes. You can't get spikes if you're taking slow samples over a long period of time, which is what you said you were going to do. So I'm confused by that. Thank you. Hello?
DC Water, your response?
Yeah, I'm just going to address it. Marjorie, I think we told you before this project started that the sparks that you see is when you open the reefer truck. So that will happen, because the stuff inside the reefer truck. So that's where that came from. We were under DOEE action level. The action level was 10 ppm. We were way, we took a baseline measurement before we started work. We didn't even meet what was in the atmosphere then. So we can bring Akon here to explain it to you next time if you want. but we meet everything that it was in an AQMP that DOE gave to us. So DOE have it. They asked the question and we give them the reason why. So those are answer to you.
Okay, I'm not sure what you said about the styrene. I didn't catch that.
The standing is when they opened the refill truck. It came up, but I can, we will bring next. We will see whether we can bring ACOM here to explain it to you. They did explain it to DOE the same question that you asked, so they were satisfied with what we gave them. But we did the action level throughout the process. The action level was where didn't surpass what the DOE gave that we couldn't surpass. So we did meet everything that the DOE asked us to meet. And you can see the graph.
Well, why is there styrene? So perhaps it's a longer answer than we have time for, but I'm wondering why there's styrene when you're using a non-styrene liner.
Maybe I could help clear it up some, Peter. So with the trucks, they aren't only used for this job. They may have been used previously, and there may be some traces of styrene when we open it.
Right. So contamination, which is
No. Gerald, no, that's not the answer.
Oh, sorry about
that. Yeah, Marjorie, we will bring ACON here to explain it, but what DOE was satisfied with what we told, with the answer ACON gave them. So we can bring ACON here next time to explain it, but we can discuss it with you.
Okay. All right.
Sidebar. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All righty, thank you so much, Marjorie. Any other questions from the community? All righty, awesome. Thank you so much, DC Water, for coming on by. Again, we appreciate the monthly updates. We appreciate the community engagements, the hard critical questions. It only makes this process better for everybody. So appreciate DC Water. All righty, so we are, it is not even 8 o'clock, y'all. We have made it to the very end of our meeting. Can I get a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All righty, all that agree, say aye.
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 All oppose? Any abstentions? All righty, and the motion passes. So thank you all for coming to our usual ANC3F public meeting. Our next meeting is June 20th. It's a Tuesday at 7 p.m. Same link, same time. If you have any questions, please email us, the commissioners, and we hope you guys have a good night. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.